Have you ever checked your bank account and felt relieved, but then looked at your life and felt disappointed? On paper, everything looks fine. You're earning, surviving, not struggling, not failing. But deep inside, something feels missing. You own things, but you don't feel fulfilled. You stay busy, but you're not progressing. You're comfortable, but you're not proud. And the scariest part is that you're not even failing. You're just stuck. If that feeling feels familiar, stay with me, because this story isn't really about money. It's about how people slowly lose themselves without realizing it. In a fast-moving city where everyone pretended to be successful, there lived a man named Daniel. Daniel was 32 years old, not young enough to feel carefree and not old enough to feel settled. He worked as an accountant at a stable company. Nothing exciting, but nothing terrible either. Every month of his life followed the same routine. His salary arrived, bills were paid, a little money went into savings, and the rest disappeared into things that made him feel successful for a moment. A new phone, expensive shoes, weekend dinners, subscriptions he barely used. His apartment looked impressive. His closet was full, but his life looked exactly the same for 5 straight years. At work, Daniel listened as coworkers talked about books they were reading and courses they were taking after office hours. He smiled politely, but inside he thought it was unnecessary. He believed he was already doing fine. His younger sister earned less than him, yet every year she learned something new. One night, she casually asked him when the last time was that he learned a new skill. Daniel laughed it off and said he already knew enough. But later that night, when the apartment went quiet and his purchases lost their shine, that confidence disappeared. A question crept into his mind and refused to leave. If he lost his job tomorrow, what would he actually be worth? Daniel stared at his degree hanging on the wall, 7 years old and untouched. He looked at his empty bookshelf and then at his reflection in the mirror. For the first time, he admitted the truth to himself. Without his job title and company name, he had nothing special to offer. No rare skill, no competitive edge, no growth, just average. And slowly, painfully, he realized that average wasn't safe. Average was invisible. Then came the moment that shattered his comfort. One Tuesday morning, the office buzzed with excitement as a senior position was announced. Double the salary, real growth, the opportunity Daniel had been waiting for without working for. His heart raced as he convinced himself it had to be him. He had seniority. He had loyalty. But when the manager announced the name, it wasn't Daniel. It was Kevin, a 26-year-old, who'd only been at the company for 2 years. Applause filled the room while Daniel sat, frozen. The manager explained that Kevin had invested heavily in his growth, learning advanced skills, earning certifications, and bringing innovation to the team. Then came the sentence that crushed Daniel completely. Kevin was the future of the company. After the meeting, Daniel confronted his manager, asking why his 5 years of loyalty weren't enough. The manager looked at him calmly and said that while Daniel was reliable, he hadn't grown. Kevin had become more valuable in 2 years than Daniel had in 5. That day, Daniel sat in his car for nearly an hour, unable to start the engine. 5 years of showing up, earning money, and buying things had led him nowhere. That night, as sleep escaped him, Daniel finally admitted the truth. He had been saving money, but losing himself. And that realization became the beginning of everything. The next morning, Daniel knew something had to change. Not someday, and not next year, but now. He just didn't know how. That's when he remembered Mr. Thomas, his former college professor, a man who never stopped learning and whose value only increased with time. They met at a quiet cafe, and Daniel confessed everything: the regret, the stagnation, and the fear of being left behind. Mr. Thomas listened patiently and then smiled. He told Daniel that the best time to invest in himself was years ago, but the second best time was today. Mr. Thomas explained the difference between buying things and building value. He showed Daniel how cars, phones, clothes, and entertainment lose value the moment they're purchased, while skills, knowledge, health, and networks grow over time. Then he said something that changed Daniel's mindset forever. Daniel wasn't the result of his income. He was the result of what he invested in. Mr. Thomas introduced a 10% rule, explaining that 10% of income should always go towards self-investment, not leftover money, but priority money. Skills, learning, and health had to come first, even before pleasure. That same day, Daniel opened a separate account and named it Investment in Me. The money that would have gone toward a new gadget went into an online course instead. The first few weeks were hard. While friends went out and relaxed, Daniel stayed home studying. They laughed at him, calling him boring, but he didn't explain himself. He remembered one simple truth. While he rested before, someone else had been investing. By the second month, Daniel added fitness to his routine, and by the third month, he completed his certification. Something unexpected happened along the way. He didn't just gain skills, he gained confidence, clarity, and support. At work, he applied what he learned, built systems, solved problems, and for the first time, people noticed him for his value, not just his reliability. 6 months later, another company reached out with a better opportunity. During the interview, when asked what made him different, Daniel didn't talk about working hard. He said he was a compounding asset, someone who never stopped growing. He got the job, a higher salary, a better role. But the real victory wasn't the money. It was looking in the mirror and finally respecting the person he saw. This story isn't just Daniel's story, it's yours. You can keep spending money on things that lose value the moment you buy them. Or you can invest in the one asset that never depreciates. Your skills don't expire. Your knowledge doesn't go out of style. And your growth can never be taken away. So look at your last few purchases and ask yourself honestly whether they helped you become more or just feel more. Decide today what one skill, one book, or one investment you'll make in yourself this month. Because possessions fade, but growth stays. Stop buying comfort and start becoming value. Because your most valuable asset isn't in your bank account, it's in the mirror.